River County
Meeting ID followed by pound.
to order at 4:14 p.m. Sorry for the delay. Tia, could you take roll call?
Have Laura Dunn, Chair,
Here.
Letty Moretti, Vice Chair,
Here.
Daryl Roberts, Secretary.
Please
Here.
enter your meeting ID followed by pound.
We can hear Teresa pounding in numbers.
Yes.
You
All right.
guys, can you mute Teresa?
Enter your participant ID followed by pound. Otherwise, just press pound to continue.
This is
Please
going
enter
so
the meeting
smoothly.
password followed by pound.
Yay. I just love it when this happens. It feels so great.
You are in the meeting now. There are 6 participants in the meeting. This meeting is being recorded. You have been added to the waiting room.
Hey, Teresa, can you please mute yourself?
I did.
Okay, great. Thank you. Okay, so roll call.
Just do the little button. There you go.
There you
Now we're all good.
Okay, continuing with roll call.
Greg Pack,
Present.
Megan Larrabee. Here. Jeff Helfrich.
Present.
And Megan Rainey.
Yes, here.
All right, full house.
Next is our public hearing for fiscal year 2023 operating and capital budget. Amy, take it away.
All right, thank you. So in your packet included the recommendations from the budget committee members. They, as you'll see, for the unencumbered reserve funds, we started with $1,238,056. SDIF dedicated project funds is $165,000. So our total reserve funds that will be starting the year off will be $1,403,056. For revenue, it'll be $2,293,458. For total operating expense, it'll be $745,367. And so far, we are exactly the same from the budget that we proposed originally. For the total administrative expense is $296,381. Total administrative personnel expense is $303,000 or $303,048. And then the total direct service personnel is $1,422,661. And for capital outlay, we had originally proposed $907,760, and the budget committee recommended $1,007,760 after we had suggested they think about including automated fare technology as well as passenger counters. I do feel like it's important to note that 2 of our members, both Daryl and Greg, did oppose adding that additional $100,000 for the passenger counters and the automated fare technology. Their suggestion, their proposal was that instead of approving that total $100,000, we'd approve $50,000 of that funds, with the assumption that the staff will be applying for grant funds in order to cover the cost of the automated or of the technology. And if we don't receive, or if we aren't awarded those funds, then we have the ability to come back to the board and ask for the remainder of those funds. Greg or Daryl, is there anything in addition that you'd like me to add with that proposal?
That's pretty much what I had in mind.
Okay. And I did want to say that, after really thinking about it and looking at the amount of tasks that are on our lap for this year, I think that's a completely reasonable proposal. I want you guys to feel comfortable with the budget and feel comfortable with the expense. And as long as we have the ability to come back to you if we don't get those funds, I think that would be the important thing. So just something for you to think about. Yeah.
I just want to clarify that you did express that you felt comfortable with the compromise recommendation that Daryl and Greg
Yes.
proposed.
Correct, yes. After thinking about it and just the amount of work that we have, and as long as we have the ability to come back to the board, I do feel comfortable with that compromise. Yes,
Question on the technology is going to do what it's supposed to do.
Yeah.
Then that data is collated somewhere and introduced where, who sees it, and how does it get to the general population or general public? So they say this is what ridership is, this is what counts for. Where's the access point for that? Because I know that's always a question I get. How do we do ridership? How many are you riding? I don't know, I gotta ask staff. And then,
Yeah.
is there a metric or is there a way that can be published on the a website or something that these were our daily counts or weekly counts or?
Yeah.
It's not so much real time, but it's within a week.
yeah, so I think that's the great thing about this type of technology. And there's tons of different things out there. And if this is approved, it will have to spend a great deal of time really doing our due diligence to research the different technology that's out there. But that's one of the great things, is that this would allow us to create reports quickly and easily to put it where we need to put it so that there is what the board deems, the appropriate oversight. So.
Sure.
Yeah. So I'm not sure if it's necessarily daily or weekly. I think it'll really depend on when we get that technology to understand what is really realistic for staff. But it'll allow us to run those reports much quicker and have a lot more accuracy.
And there may be different systems that have different capabilities, and you'll be looking into those.
Exactly, yeah.
The research is probably gonna take up a lot of time.
The research is going to take a lot of time, and in order for us to create that application for the grant, the application is due in January. So it's going to take us several months in order to really do all that due diligence and to submit all that information for the application.
We'll be taking action on that final budget during the regular session of our board of directors meeting. Is there I'll open to public hearing, if there's any members of the public who wanted to comment now?
So I did receive one in writing.
Okay,
Okay. So this is from Tracy Thomas Paul. She sent me an email today. She says, "Dear CAT Board and Budget Committee members, I appreciate the work that has gone into the budget, but I believe that the budget information fails again this year to offer a clear operating picture to the public. A key missing figure is the cost per passenger trip. That measurement offers the clearest way for taxpayer or other interested person to compare costs over time, compare local costs with other agencies, and avoid making people have to go to multiple spots in the CAT documents to get that critical information. It's clearly the reason that the Federal Transit Administration created the National Transit Database with transit agency profiles. The FTA takes data from each transit agency receiving federal funds and puts the data inputs into a consistent and clear output. There is no reason why I can't provide the information in each budget, preferably showing also the prior fiscal year cost per trip and the proposed future fiscal year cost per trip. Using the 2022-2023 proposed budget and the way in which the FTA seems to calculate cost per trip, operating expenses plus direct service expenses equals cost of directly providing trips divided by total trips. CAT seems likely to experience a cost of around $37.54 per trip for the fiscal year just ending. Obviously, given the fares charged, each CAT ride represents a significant transfer of income from taxpayers providing the funding to the riders taking advantage of the service. That may be fine. Many people people want fewer parking headaches at trailheads and less congestions on the roads. But we cannot evaluate what direction CAT is heading in fiscally without the cost per trip info. Your budget shows a growing net loss for the 2023 fiscal year. It shows a very big influx of federal subsidies into CAT, but there is no attempt to predict what the 2023 fiscal year ridership will be. Instead, the budget text mentions an expected increase in ridership, but fails to make a forecast. Most business owners facing the same economic headwinds of rising costs, labor shortages, record inflation, and a likely recession still make forecasts that include their expected sales or number of visitors or something that accounts for their base service. CAT should make a similar attempt at a forecast to provide a clear picture to the public of what you're expecting, of what we are paying for, and so that we, the public, can follow along year to year and have a simple comparative measure. Instead, not only are we missing the cost per trip year to year, but each budget document or budget presents its measurements differently. This year, a monthly picture of trips is provided. Last year, it was a comparison of annual riders and service hours across several years. That failure to provide clear and consistent data and measures makes the work of reading and reacting to the budget difficult, even for people willing to spend a lot of time digging into the weeds of your documents. Forecasts aren't always right, they're frequently wrong, but they provide a lens by which others can see what is driving the rest of the budget figures. If the CAP budget wrote that you expect monthly ridership to increase by 10% over fiscal year 2022 because of X, Y, and Z, that would be a starting point. You'd also have a new baseline cost per ride that you would show. After Q1, you'd evaluate and adjust as needed. In case you no longer have it, I'm attaching the data that CAT submitted to the FDA for its 2020 annual transit agency profile. At that time, CAT's cost per trip was $28.31 across all modes. It's impossible to guess at what your 2023 per year cost per trip is forecasted to be, since you have not put in ridership estimates for the year. Or if they are there, I sadly cannot find them. If CAT would be more transparent and show cost per trip information in each budget presentation and each time a supplemental budget is presented and or the quarterly review is done, it would go a long way to helping people understand some of the costs of transit in this county. Thank you for your time. Tracy Thomas Schwal, Hood River.
Are there any other public comments? I'll now close the public hearing. We'll take feedback into consideration and at the regular board meeting today. Do I need a motion to adjourn?
Yes,
Need a
you do.
motion to adjourn.
I'm sorry.
Motion to adjourn our budget into regular board meeting.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any comments?
I'm not clear on what we're voting on.
Adjourning the
Adjourning the
public hearing.
the budget public hearing. Any action taken will happen during the regular board meeting to follow.
Okay. I'm I then.
Okay. Any other questions? Anyone opposed? Chair votes aye. We adjourn at 4:26. And welcome back. I'm gonna read our land acknowledgement, recognizing the indigenous peoples of the Columbia River Gorge. We meet today on settled indigenous land, which is the traditional territory of the Chinookan peoples of the Wasco, Rishram, Warm Springs, and Grand Ronde tribes. Let us honor this land and its traditional native stewards, past, present, and future, and strive today to embody a commitment to cultural equity and reconciliation, ecological conservation, and sustainability. In this spirit, I hereby call this meeting to order at 4:27 p.m. Tia, could you do a roll call for us again?
Yes. Laura Dunn, Chair.
Here.
Letty Moretti, Vice Chair.
Here.
Daryl Roberts, Secretary.
Here,
Megan Larrabee. Here. Greg Peck.
Here,
Jeff Helfrich.
Present.
Megan Ramey.
Here. All right, staff notes there was a mistake in the resolution to adopt the fiscal year 2023 operating and capital budget. It was not included under resolution and action items. Is there? Can you explain about that?
No, we accidentally didn't put it on the agenda.
Okay, so I need a motion to add the resolution to adopt the fiscal year 2020 operating and capital budget to the resolution and action items of this agenda. We're not voting for the budget, we're
no,
voting to include this in the
agenda.
agenda.
Make a
Great.
motion to add to the agenda board resolution in order number 6-15-22.
And can we get a second? Second. All in favor?
aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Okay, we first need to approve the May 18th meeting minutes, which are in your packet. Are there any changes that board members would like to make? Is there a motion to accept the minutes?
Make the motion to accept the May minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
Aye.
aye.
All opposed? Chair votes aye. Motion is passed. Now is the opportunity for public comment regarding the discussion item that's not on the agenda. Is there anyone here to make a public comment? Okay, moving to the May financial report. Teresa Galucci from our team accounting is here to present the financial overview. Go ahead, Teresa.
Thank you. You all have your packets, so I'll just do a high-level summary. Cash on hand at the end of May was 1.2 million. That's about 44,000 more than last year at this time. 890,000 of that is in the CIT account. And just a reminder that it takes a few days to get that money transferred to the operating account. Accounts receivable is made up of 3 invoices. One is more than 30 days old, but the other 2 are current. Grants receivable, again, we're in Q4, and just a reminder that even though the revenue is being recorded as earned, the funds will be collected in the next fiscal year. So the funds sitting on the balance sheet of 481 is money that will come in next year. Accounts payable, the amount of vendor invoices open and not yet paid at the end of May was 13,000, all of which was paid the first week of June. Are there any questions about the balance sheet?
I don't have any questions, Teresa, but I never received the report, so I didn't have any way to go over it.
That was my error, Daryl. I sent it this afternoon, or well, this morning.
Okay.
Attached to the meeting invite.
I did look for it this morning, but I'm not sure I looked this afternoon. So I just want the board to know I have not reviewed it.
If you have any questions, Daryl, please let me know.
Okay.
Moving on to the income statement, revenue for the year was budgeted at $3.5 million. $2 million had been earned at the end of May. That 1.5 million variance, about 900,000 is due to capital grants not collected. We've talked about that for several months. And then we have one more month of the fiscal year. So I don't know what that means in terms of the planned grant draws yet to occur, but we likely are not going to come quite to the budgeted amount. Cost of goods. The average cost of goods is between 55 and 60,000 per month. It fluctuates just a little bit. Because fuel was over budgeted this year, there's a projected balance of roughly 100,000 in cost of goods. That's a positive variance. So that's very helpful in meeting budget. Administrative expenses run between 15 and 30,000 each month. In spite of the building repairs that were unplanned this year, we're still going to be under budget in this area. Personnel expenses, payroll was 118,000 for the year at the end of May. The year-over-year comparison is a bit skewed because of the severe cuts to staffing last year due to COVID. The last quarter payroll is running about 100,000 a month. So net income at the end of May was 99,000. This is about 147,000 less than last year. And just in a nutshell, a big roll up, 900,000 is due to the underspent grants, and about 300,000 is due to payroll expenses that are higher. So any questions on the income statement? Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yes.
No, just thank you. Amy, there's a A little note there in the chat, or there's a little notification that there's a couple chats. I just want to be sure we haven't missed something. when we get to see. No, okay, we're clear. Thank you. Okay, attached in your meeting packet, you have a memo regarding the selection of an accountant. Yes.
Thank you. So as you guys remember from last month, we discussed Teresa's contract with an our team accounting coming to an end June 30th. I have released several RFPs. I began with local accounting firms. I hadn't received any responses, so I extended that to the Portland area. And then I sent out more again the middle of last week because I still haven't received them. So to date, I have no responses. I did make follow-up calls with all that I'd released to, excluding the ones that I sent last week, just giving them a little more time, but I will be following up with them. Given that we've received no responses, staff would recommend re-releasing the RFP, including more, additional firms probably in the Portland area. We also suggest to see if Teresa Galucci would be willing to be on a month-to-month contract while we search for an accounting firm.
Daryl, if I remember correctly, there was a point at which you suggested you might know somebody. Do you know someone?
Well, I do, and I've tried to contact her, but I haven't heard anything back, and she's a local person. But I will try again. Yes, I'm not sure why she hasn't called me back. Are we looking for a CPA specifically, or is it just somebody with some advanced bookkeeping experience?
I think Teresa does not have her CPA, so I think either would suffice as long as they have some background in government sector accounting.
Okay, well, and I'm not sure that this person does have that, but I will again, I'll attempt to contact her again and find out if she's interested, and if she does.
Do we need a motion to explore the option of contracting with Teresa on a month-to-month basis, or is that something we can just?
I think it's just the direction is if you approve us going in that direction, that would be great. So I might as well make a motion and to approve us to follow up with Teresa and do a month-to-month contract.
Wait, is this different from did we have somebody that we interviewed?
So that was for the auditor.
Oh,
So
okay.
this is for just a general overview of our month-to-month finances and
The
I just-
reconciliation of the budget.
Gotcha, okay.
and just making sure there's a second pair of eyes.
I'll make a motion to keep Teresa Galucci on a month-to-month.
And we'll continue to look for a long-term contract with another firm. Sorry.
No, yeah.
Second. Okay. Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Okay, and chair votes aye on that too.
Thank you, Teresa.
Yeah, thank you. I hope that will work. Okay, now in our meeting packets, you'll find the 4th of July request. You can go ahead with that.
Yes, so every year we tend to do some sort of price reduction on the 4th of July. And last year it was just the end of the night. We also provided additional buses to help relieve congestion down by the waterfront. This year, due to staffing, that's not something we can do with the vehicles, but staff would like the board to consider having free fares on the city route just for July 4th. That would allow people who come to Hood River for the parade, they can hop on. This is also, hop on for the parade, but also just for festivities that are happening throughout the day. It just makes it simple. And it is something that we would be advertising through our social media networks, also work with the city in order for them to promote as well. And staff in general just thought this would be a good way to celebrate the day, but also encourage people to give us a shot, give us a ride, or try taking a ride.
Question, what's
Yeah.
the reasoning that we don't have, is it staffing or vehicles or both?
To do with the vehicles at the end of the day.
Mhm.
Both.
What are the other vehicles being utilized for?
So at that time of day, we'll be having our other runs will still be running until a certain amount of point, and then in theory, we could have brought them over, but the main reason is staffing.
And we didn't see the
Fourth of July,
ridership.
yeah, some
Yeah.
holiday.
All right, I'm just gonna add this.
Yeah.
Last year, we didn't see the ridership that we thought we might see.
Well, last year there was just a static parade too, correct? And not a regular parade?
That was for the holiday.
Oh, that was the holiday stuff.
The July 4th was a moving parade.
And now they're
Okay.
running, the run and races also back. Last year they didn't. do the 4th of July race.
That's nice.
I support it. I think it's a great idea because if we're gonna ask people to get down to the waterfront for the fireworks.
Take the bus.
In our best, like to incentivize them to get down there, like why are they paying for one way and not the other?
Mhm.
So,
I'll second your motion.
I mean, is it too tricky to make it just like 2 fireworks and festivities? Or will people be like going to Portland for free that day? I don't.
Well, it would just be the local route.
Just
So
the
it'd just
city.
be the
Okay.
Hood River City route. That would be the only one. Everything else would still be paid.
I mean, I think it's also a good idea just to reduce like driving. That's what I think about on holidays when.
Yeah.
Hopefully it'll be hot.
It'll be great.
This rate.
Oh, come on. Yeah.
I am working on getting our trolley in the parade as well. I'm having a hard time contacting someone, but that is also something that we're trying to do. Last year, I was actually walking with the trolley and it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And so that's something that if we are in there, I'm hoping to put like a banner on the trolley as well as says free rides today.
And we're hoping all the board members. can
Yeah,
come
right,
that would be
yeah.
wonderful.
And ride.
Last year, Megan's husband and daughter did it and it was a lot of fun.
Be in a different part of the parade, but otherwise I would. Okay, so we have a motion and a second on that. All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Or any other questions? Right, chair votes aye. And, okay, so, and can you reintroduce the budget, fiscal year 2023 operating and capital budget
Right.
options?
Yes, so the option on the table is that you can choose to approve as approved by, or as recommended by the budget committee. Or you can suggest or recommend, or sorry, approve the version with Greg and Daryl's proposal, where instead of $100,000 for automated fare technology and passenger counters, it would be $50,000. So that would mean that, hold on, I wrote it down. The total budget would be $4,685,893. And the deficit would be $231,187.
So the total amount would be $50,000 less with the compromise proposal.
Correct.
I feel like since we had a recommendation from the budget committee, that we really probably should vote on both options. And I'm thinking maybe it would make sense to first vote on the compromise option of the 50,000 and see if that's approved. We have at least that amount approved to start, and then if that also, if that passes, then we also vote on and consider the full amount and decide how we stand on that one. So could I get a motion maybe Daryl, since this was your baby at first, maybe could you make a motion for the compromise suggestion? Recommendation?
Yes, I will make that motion to accept the compromise suggestion that reduces the capital expenses by $50,000.
I'll second that.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
I do just want to reiterate, I really did appreciate the budget committee's recommendation. But I also feel that it's very important that you all feel very comfortable with our budget. And so I thought that the proposal was reasonable. So thank you.
Okay, all right, and I also voted aye on that. Were there any nay votes, any objections on that first proposal? Compromise proposal. Okay, and just so that we can have a vote on the budget committee's recommendation for the full amount, could I get a motion on that one for our consideration on our vote? Okay, that was down. Okay, well then we'll accept the first recommendation, the compromise amount for the $50,000.
Okay, and
And the, tell me what other words I should say.
okay. It's so specifically a motion to adopt resolution 6/15/2022 for a total of $4,685,893 and a tax rate of 0.0723 per $1,000 of assessed value. And I can give that to you if you'd like to.
Okay. Have we passed this, or do I need to get another go round with all of the right language there?
So I think I'm sorry, I do need that specific
I make
language.
motion to adopt the budget that Amy has read off the memo.
Thank
Okay.
you. Thank you.
Right.
I'll second.
And specifically the tax rate of
And
0.
specifically of the tax rate.
Do you need him to say the words?
I think of 0.0723.
0.0723. Right?
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Per 1,000 assessed value.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
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 Aye. It's passed. Thank
Great,
you.
thank you.
All right. Is Ty with us? We're gonna do Amy's.
I think we got me. That'll be at the.
Oh,
the
I'm sorry.
end,
Okay,
yeah.
okay. All right, so the next is
right.
operations manager report, but is Ty with us?
You know what, he's not. And I don't know why. Can you, yeah, and call him. Yeah.
Can we move ahead to the executive director's report and then see if he catches us on the next? Yes. Go ahead, Amy.
Great, thank you. Yes, so transit master plan update. We are ending the first survey June 17th. So that's the survey that we sent out to get the feedback from our different residents on how they would like to see us grow, and what they want to see in transportation in the next 5 to 10 years, and basically give us a roadmap for that, us to do that. We are now working on service recommendations. Patty has been working hard to create maps and different options, so it's easy for the public to understand what we're proposing. That is going to be a survey, so it'll be an online survey, and people will actually have the opportunity to go in and select the different alternatives for the different focus areas. So for Cascade Locks, for Upper Valley, for the 2 different portions. So Upper Valley, and then the mid Upper Valley, Odell and Pine Grove. And then East Hood River and West Hood River as well. Also, we're going to ask you to approve the transit master plan goals. We actually have them on the agenda for a little bit later on, so we can go over them. They were also in your packet. But basically, we either need you to approve them today, or they can also be approved in July. But it's important to have those so that we can move forward and incorporate those with our service recommendations. So for Multnomah Falls, Transportation Ambassador update. So as you all know, I've been paying to staff ambassadors at the Multnomah Falls parking lot as a partnership with the U.S. Forest Service and ODOT to help regulate how many people are coming into Multnomah Falls, with the idea of making it easier for public transit to access the Multnomah Falls parking lot and make it safer for us as well. That has been going well. Rev has been heading it up and working with his different ambassadors, and the Forest Service has been very grateful for it as well. So next is Miss Patty Fink with her exit message.
Yeah, so I asked Amy to give me an opportunity, number one, to thank the board. I so appreciate that I've had the opportunity to work with you all for 5 years. And I'm proud of what we've been able to accomplish. And I wanted to let you all know that, and that it really has been an honor for me to have led the district. And I am pleased and proud of the things that we've been able to accomplish together. I want to make a couple of comments. First of all, the boarding rides per hour is something that is in the board packet every month. It is open to those minutes, and meetings are open to the public, and we've been very conscientious. We're one of the few small transit providers in the gorge, and frankly, around the state, that actually provides those numbers. So I'm proud of that. I'm proud of the transparency that we've been able to give and provide to the citizens of Hood River County. Second of all, one of the things that I think is really important to note is that when I started, there was just shy of $1 million in our budget, so just about 900,000. Today I looked in the budget. There's $1.1 million, plus we have 300,000 outstanding grants that are coming in that sort of already been applied for and are coming in. That's a total of $1.4 million. Now, we had $1.5 million last year, and I believe that by the end of this year, we will have something very, very similar to that amount. So I believe we've done a tight budget. We've kept our resources. We've gone after grants. We've protected and increased the amount of revenue that we have for this district, and it has placed us in a position that is it is really ready to move forward as an organization, and I'm proud of that as well. I do want to say that I do think there are three areas where I think the board does need to keep its eye on the ball, and one of them is the transit master plan. I think the transit master plan really is your opportunity to talk about how you want to see the agency move forward, whether it's regional service, local service, or some combination thereof. Just this last month, I've had conversations with some of the other providers on the Washington side, and they're asking us potentially to apply for grant funds on the Washington side to provide service over there. Those are decisions that you're going to have to make, and you're going to have to think about how and what are the benefits both to the citizens here in Hood River County, as well as those folks, overall, what is the advantage overall to the district to do those kind of things. So those are things that I think Amy is going to be dealing with, but I think it's also important to really think about it on a larger scale, what you all see and how you'd like to see transit expand in the gorge, and whether we're the ones that you think should be doing that, or if there's some other organization that should do it. because those will be opportunities to have that discussion in terms of the regional transit strategy, but also in terms of our transit master plan. So those are things that guys should be thinking about. The other thing that I think is really critical is we do need to begin to start looking at ridership and how we're doing on ridership. We put a lot of money early in 2019 and saw huge returns on our investment. Then COVID came and those returns sort of dropped off the edge of the earth. And now last summer we saw an uptick in that ridership again. We expect there to be an uptick this year too, and we expect that to carry over. We're already seeing some of that in terms of our local ridership and also in terms of our Columbia Gorge Express ridership. I think that those are things, I do think that our cost per ride does need to come down. I think as one of the things that we, what we need to think about as an agency is if you're starting a business, you don't expect to hit your all of your marks the first year. So you do, and I think that's an opportunity also with the transit master plan is to set marks that or targets that as you're moving forward, where you want to be and how it relates to other objectives you have in the so those are ridership. That was the second thing that I wanted to talk about. And lastly is also, again, depending on what your ultimate goals are and what you decide to do with the transit master plan, one of the big things that we've seen is investment, both in vehicles, in technology, in a variety of other things have put us in an ability to expand and move forward quickly. That's something that no other transit agency in the Gorge currently is able to do. And that's why I think that technology is so important for the district. And really think it will allow you to make your case for grant funding. There's a lot of money coming down the pike. There's lots of new opportunities for us to expand if that's what the district wants to do. And that will come out of your transit master plan. So those are the 3 or 4 things that I highlighted, and I'm happy to take any questions, but I just again wanted to thank you so much for allowing me to be here and do this job.
Been a lovely ride.
It has been.
Yeah.
Yeah, you,
Well, thank you, Patty, for sticking with us after our previous fiasco hiring a new executive director.
Yeah, it was my pleasure. I think we've got the right ticket now.
I was gonna say, as I tend to get very jaded in city leadership these days because there is a lack of action in what I have, city and state and federal, just lack of action right now, meaningful action. And I have so much gotten it from here. So thank you so much for your leadership on that. It's like so tangible and it makes me happy because I feel like my anxiety level is going down a little bit knowing that we're doing something. So, yes.
That's a great legacy here. Thank you. Okay, we're gonna move to an executive session.
Sorry, actually, since if I could do the operations report.
Oh, okay, yes. we have to
Since we
double
skipped
back.
over that.
Thank you.
Ty had an emergency, so I will go ahead and give the operations report. So the employee of the month is Rod. He is just a fantastic dude. He is always there to lend a helping hand. He goes above and beyond his tasks, and he is just a wonderful driver as well. and really goes out of his way to help customers with answering their questions or making sure they're getting to where they need to go. So with our safety score, we're at 97, and we had 0 crashes. There was 12 harsh events. I'm sorry, I don't know the backgrounds about those. The drive time did go up, but we also increased our service levels in May quite a bit, and as well as our miles driven. Our on-time performance for our fixed routes for 5 minutes was about the same. It stayed very steady. And then for fuel used, again, obviously that went up because our the amount of miles driven has gone up, and of course the actual cost too. We had 2 vehicle repairs, and we had 1 customer complaint. And I'm sorry because I didn't get a chance to repair. I'm forgetting the exact complaint that this was, but I can follow up with an email to let you know. The Falls to Locks update, so that service is running. We have had fairly light ridership, but that is to be to be expected because of the little amount of marketing that we have done around this route as of now.
And the weather.
And the weather. We are going to be changing kind of how we display it. Right now, it's on its own page on the website. We're going to move it to the Columbia Gorge Express page as well, so that it's very obvious the different times and to make it easy for people to understand. So that'll be happening, as well as we're going to be, once we get to that 30-minute service level, we're going to be producing a brochure, and that's going to go to Travel Oregon. And there's lots of things planned with ODOT to get the word out, even additionally to Portland.
When is the 30-minute?
Frequency.
Frequency.
Yes.
Headway is right, those.
Okay.
So at the moment, that is kind of up in the air. I guess it's probably about 3 weeks. Right now, it's really dependent on drivers. In the past couple of days, we have hired 2 new drivers. So that is the step in the right direction. Since we last talked, we have also hired a 3rd field supervisor. So that is great. So we are getting to where we need to be staff-wise. It's just, it's been difficult. And the fact that gas has gone up so much, that has also made it difficult for people who would say have to travel a little farther in order for them to get to work. It's a huge hit for their budget with that extra fuel expense. Where we can, we have been working with employees who are coming from the Portland area. We actually have a couple who do that. We are looking at van pool options potentially, and where we can, we allow them to ride the Columbia Gorge Express to help as well. So they don't have to drive in, they can take the bus. Any, yeah.
So I rode the Historic Columbia River Highway last Thursday. I rode it from Troutdale to Multnomah Falls, and I have to say how impressed I was with the new permitting sort of operation throughout because it goes from Bridal Veil to Ainsworth. And I only had 3 cars pass me on my bike. So I think it's working because there was no stopped traffic whatsoever. And yeah, cars were super respectful. The operation at Bridal Veil is really, I mean, it's pretty amazing. There's a checkpoint. They're actually renting e-bikes from Bridal Veil. So people, even if they don't have the permit, they have that amazing backup option. They just park their car and take an e-bike down it. And I ran into 2 women at Multnomah, and they were just so happy with the experience. Because I was like, where'd you get those bikes? Oh, and then the ODOT Region 1 ACT meeting, Tara gave a presentation. Were you listening? No. Tara gave a presentation about the whole permitting process, and she's initial survey results say people like it, so and it's pretty easy to book.
Yeah, I was there, the first weekend that the permit takers were at Holman Falls and had a similar experience. We were actually turning folks away. Most of them were very much easy to deal with,
Yeah.
unlike last year. There just seemed to be a higher level of understanding and respect for what was going on. So I think it's really a positive sort of transformation, and I hope to see it as the weather improves on the vehicles.
Yeah.
I realize that I'm speaking and I don't know. Sorry.
I'm glad you are combining the schedules though, because of this after I had last week. I was gonna say, maybe put an asterisk in the Falls to Locks schedule, but sorry, the other one, but I'm glad you're combining them. Can I ask a question about is Wyatt still a flag stop or not?
Wyeth State Park.
Yeah,
So that is on the Cascade Locks deviated fixed route.
okay.
So it
Good to know.
is one,
So
it's just
somebody-
at specific times.
So Hood River folks have to take the bus to Cascade Locks and then take it back to Wyatt.
I would have to look at yeah, so it's the way back to Hood River. So
Okay.
they go back to Cascade Locks, and it's way back.
This is a 0.005. It's like such a small percentage of people that are gonna do this, but I have some ultra marathoners that really want to take the bus out and run back to Hood River.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. Yeah. and
Good
they're
for
super
them.
excited about it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Okay.
I know.
I used Dial Ride for the first time. I can't believe we never did this before. And it was so awesome. So my daughter had a first thing dental appointment, and then somebody was gonna need to get her to the high school, and we both had to leave for work. And so, but I knew that when that was gonna be, so we set up a Dial Ride to pick her up from the dentist and get her to the high school. And I could get to work on time, and it was great.
Yay.
So thank you.
I'm so glad to hear that. That's awesome.
Yeah.
And it makes me all warm and fuzzy when everybody, or when people try the bus. It's great. My parents took the bus today back to the airport, so that's always fun. And yeah, so it's really great to see you guys giving it a try and using it on a regular basis, which I know Megan is, and that's wonderful. So thank you. So just a couple things on the ridership that I wanted to highlight. Our city route, we are steadily increasing as we're going into the summer. And I can tell you anecdotally, because I take the bus home every day, and I am seeing every day there's just more and more riders, and I'm seeing a whole bunch of different riders. There's people going home, there's grandma who takes her granddaughter home, and it's just really, really neat to see. And then also on our Columbia Gorge Express, there was a huge bump. It was almost 1,000 riders in May. So that is fantastic.
I noticed a big
My husband
increase.
was one of them.
Yay! Yay! And how'd that go?
Great.
Yeah.
He was like,
Yeah.
"Get on there."
Yeah.
It was more like we're in the snafu. He likes to be more in control, but of driving and his schedule, but it worked out great. And
Right.
he's,
You've done it
he
for
might be
airport
sold.
only, I think.
It was just
Really
so
easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, the only time I've ever experienced, like, it was like the Amazing Race was, and it wasn't our deal, it was the whole like catalytic converter thing that's happening right now. And but the same thing goes for copper wire. Somebody had taken the copper wire from TriMet, stripped it down, and so they had to operate buses from Gateway to the airport, and we were just like, I'm so glad we are early, because we're
Yeah.
literally sitting in Friday rush hour traffic, like, yeah, that was nuts.
Well, he was kind of like taking an Uber, actually. He's like, my company will pay for it. I'm like, no, take that.
Yeah.
We gotta do it. And then he's like, okay, if it's like something's happening at Gateway, I can just then take an Uber there, you know? But it all worked. He like got on the maps and was just like, oh my gosh. You only have a positive experience, like, okay.
Yeah.
We can do this. It's reliable.
That's why it's so important to have that first experience be a positive experience.
Yeah,
Yeah.
totally.
All right, and so just last thing on operations report is Dog Mountain shuttle is now complete. And I don't, the ridership numbers are in the seasonal service. But that also includes some of the falls to locks. So we can send that to you specifically, but it was a strong finish, and thank you all for your support for doing that.
One weekend, we had over 300 boarding rides in on a day.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So, on the
Yeah.
Dog Mountain Shuttle. So it's well-known and well-written, well-loved.
Yeah. And one of our drivers has lots of fun, and he creates stories about Sasquatch, and he tells his riders about them, and yeah. Okay, so Laura, I'll punt it back to you
Okay.
for the executive session.
So we're this meeting into executive session per ORS 192.660I to review and evaluate the employment related performance of the chief executive officer of any public body, a public officer, employee, or staff member who does not request an open hearing. And I ask that anybody but Amy and any members of the press who may be in attendance can be added to the. I'm now closing the executive session for ORS 192.660I to review and evaluate the employment related performance of the chief executive officer of this public body.
Thank you.
And thank you, come on in, and may I have a motion from one of our board members regarding
To approve the increases
to
stated in my
approve
contract.
the pay increase as laid out in Amy's contract. Make that motion. And-
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Right, and chair votes aye, and motion is passed. Thank you. Okay, as far as discussion items, Amy would like to discuss the transit master plan goals. Go ahead, Amy.
Yeah, so since it's all in your packet, I think the question can just be if those are the goals and the changes that were highlighted, if that's something you approve, or if you would like more time to discuss, we can bring it to the July meeting. But it would really help us with the creation of the service alternatives, if they can be approved tonight, but I want you to go what you feel comfortable with. I can also specifically call out those changes if you would like me to.
Were
So
they
the-
in yellow?
Yes.
Yes, that's what I figured.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, yeah.
The largest, just to go back a minute, most of the changes come from the 2017 document. And the changes that were made were just to those original goals.
Yeah. And then there was just one additional one that was added. And if that's something that you guys feel comfortable, then a motion to approve would be appropriate.
I had only, and maybe I missed it somewhere, do we have a goal of improving safety near bus stops? 'Cause I remember that specifically coming out during this, like accessibility.
Might look at the last goal.
I looked under access equity and I didn't see it there.
Community resilience.
And I did a word search for safety or safer and I couldn't find it.
We have explore creative infrastructure improvements that support low impact and sustainable development practices and or mobility options.
You could add
Um,
safe.
You could add safety
Yeah.
to that.
Yeah. It's one of the places where people walking or biking, but mostly walking, get hit by other vehicles is at bus stops because they're trying to cross the street before the bus comes because they're in a rush to get on the bus. if they miss that bus, it's gonna be another a half an hour to hour wait. So they're running in front of cars that sometimes hit them, and so like, that's a big.
Amy, what's the line again where you're proposing adding safety?
Explore creative infrastructure improvements that support low impact and sustainable development practices and more mobility options.
Under number 5 on the last,
Oh,
yes.
page, community resilience. So the second to last dot point.
Yeah,
Thank you.
perfect. That's all I.
I want, it may be appropriate to add something, like in number 3, explore first, last mile options and services for
That's-
safe and seamless.
That's
travel.
where, yeah, that's where I was looking for it, but.
It's
Yeah,
seamless
it's
is in
always,
there, but
it's
just
always
adding
first and
safe.
last mile.
Mhm. That seems like where it would fit in as well.
And I think, they could probably be both.
Yeah, and then actually maintain and improve an accessible and equitable transit system. You could also add safe in there. Safe, accessible, and equitable. In the heading on 3.
I'm sorry, oh, right here, it's safe.
That young one.
Got it, okay. Yeah.
Safety is no accident.
Yeah,
Uh-huh.
should be clear. Daryl, Greg?
I support those small changes. Everything else looks fine to me.
Okay.
Okay,
Yeah,
good.
that's good to me.
Oh, sorry,
Updates?
Daryl, what did you say?
That's fine with me.
I'll make the motion to approve the edits highlighted and include safety. and all the places mentioned.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Chair votes aye. Thank you. Upcoming events, Amy?
So just want to give you a heads up for July. Every July for our bylaws, we must elect new board chair, vice chair, and secretary. So if that's something that you are interested in doing, or if what happens is the board members nominate specific folks, and then that is voted on by the board.
Did you start the recording again?
Yes.
Okay, sorry, thank you. I couldn't see.
Yeah.
And I think that last year we did a vote like by a Google poll or Google poll or not Google.
Oh, yeah, I think we
some
did.
kind of poll that way. So if that could be pushed out to us.
Yeah. So-
Before the meeting?
I think, yes, and then I think the thing, so are you saying just list everybody and then have people nominated by just selecting? Is that what you're
Maybe
thought?
make nominations now, or does that need to be at the July meeting?
Everything I read is at July meeting. But I guess that doesn't make sense if we did it like that last year.
I think that was the way we did it last year, and then we did electronic polling so people could vote based on who was.
Nomination.
You know, it looks like, would you be able to respond to an electronic poll in the room? Okay, well, we could do it right in the room.
Yeah, yeah.
If everyone remembers to bring some kind of device so they could
yeah.
respond to an electronic poll right
Yeah.
in real time. Okay,
Sounds good.
so we can do nominations at that time.
All right. All right, and then the other thing is just, again, every July, we have to sign conflict of interest forms, so I will have that to you. For those who come, you can sign them in the room, or just drop them off or mail them into me if you do not come to the meeting, if you join remotely. All right, that is all that I have.
All right, is there a motion to adjourn the meeting?
Make motion to-
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, Patty, for all your work. Sorry I can't be there to have pizza with you.
Yeah,
Meeting
thanks,
adjourned.
Greg.
Same here, Patty.
All right, Daryl.
Enjoy.
You all both this fall sometime.
All right. Thank you, guys.
All right,
Thank
bye-bye.
you. Have a great night.
Meeting adjourned at 5:32 p.m. Sorry. And I wrote yes on that.
Yeah.
We're done.
Yeah.
Now we get to navigate